Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the 2007 adaptation of Persuasion. So, before I head into my thoughts and feelings on the 2007 adaptation of Jane Austen's Persuasion, I guess just a quick disclaimer, I don't think I'm going to particularly have any sort of spoilers in this video. That being said though, this is a fairly old movie. If you want to talk about spoilers down in the comment section, feel free to go ahead and do so. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to try my best to stay away from spoilers. Hopefully that goes well, you guys. So yeah, the 2007 adaptation of Jane Austen's Persuasion, you guys, hallelujah. I have finally made it to watching this particular adaptation. And you know what? This is like so bizarre. This is my very first Persuasion adaptation that I have ever watched. And there's several adaptations out there. So I don't know how I have never watched a single adaptation of this book. I know there is, let's see, I wrote it down in my notes because there's some other popular ones. I know there's that recent 2022 version that came out, but I heard that that was really bad. The thing is though, even though I heard it's really bad, I am still going to watch it at some point just so I can compare. And then I know that the, is this 1995? Did I put the right year? I feel like I put the wrong year. The 1995 adaptation, I know that one has Kieran Hines. I can't remember who the woman is in that, but I know Kieran Hines is in it. I know the 1995 one is very, very popular. So at some point I may or may not try and watch that particular adaptation. But yeah, this 2007 version, I have just been wanting to watch this one for years, pretty much ever since it first came out. I just never had the means or the opportunity to watch it. And yeah, I just happened to be subscribed to BritBox these last couple months. So I was trying to take advantage of some of these older movies and TV shows that I've been really wanting to get around to. I've been trying to watch them. So yeah, I watched Persuasion on BritBox, if you happen to have a BritBox account or if you would like to get one. The movie is only an hour and a half. Practically. It goes over a little bit, like an hour and 32 minutes. It's an hour and a half for the most part, which I was kind of surprised about. For some reason, I thought this was like a TV series. I don't know why I was given that impression that I thought this was a TV series, but it's a movie. So the plot, if you have no idea what Persuasion is even about, 8 years ago, Anne Elliot was forced to reject a marriage proposal by Captain Frederick Wentworth. Now he has returned in her life, causing Anne more pain and confusion as they fight against their feelings for one another. It's Jane Austen, you guys. Of course they're fighting their feelings and attraction for one another. That's what we're here for, right? So some background information with me as far as Persuasion goes, because I've already said this is actually my very first adaptation of watching Persuasion. I've never seen any other movie or television series for this book. I actually read the book by Jane Austen way back in 2014, you guys, so it's definitely been over a decade at this point. And the thing is, I did not really like the book. Let me throw that out there. I was not a fan of the book. I was kind of bored for the most part, and I didn't really care for anything going on. I don't know what it is. Jane Austen is very hit or miss for me. I think I just really prefer like Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility. Those are my favorites of Jane Austen that I've read. But yeah, Persuasion, when I read it, I just did not like it, you guys. So I wanted to definitely give this movie adaptation a chance, knowing that I disliked the book so much, because I went into this movie anticipating liking the movie way more than the book, and sure enough, that was the case. So yeah, that's just a me thing. That's just a me thing. That's not necessarily, you know, everybody, obviously. Sometimes with works of classic literature, an adaptation just works for me far better because it's easier for me to, I have a visual, I have a visual and I can understand the story and I can understand the characters better. And I think watching this movie adaptation, I definitely had a better sense of understanding the characters and the world quite a bit better than I did when I was reading the book, because like I said, I was pretty bored reading the book. So to talk about the movie itself, as I already said, I really quite enjoyed this movie. I found it very, very enjoyable, very entertaining, a really nice sense of dry humor in certain places. And it's so angsty, you guys. I feel like out of all of Jane Austen's characters, I feel like Anne and Captain Wentworth, I feel like the two of them are like the most angsty of her characters. And you spend a lot of this movie, you just want to slap people, okay? You just want to slap people and tell them, hey, you need to better communicate, because that's kind of what a lot of this movie boils down to, is people just need to better communicate. For the love of God, please. And then we wouldn't have all this. Well, you know what? If people weren't very good communicators, we wouldn't have a story, would we? And something else that I particularly like about Persuasion, once again, even though I didn't particularly like the book that much, the thing is, still kind of drawing that parallel book and movie. I think what's really interesting about book and movie of Persuasion is I think there's a lot of Jane Austen herself that's reflected in the story, I suppose, because of what I know of Jane Austen. I mean, she never got married, she never had children. You know, it seemed like she kind of had a bit of a kind of sad, lonely life in some ways, but she got great joy out of writing, obviously. Writing and these books are her legacy, but yeah, she never got married, never had children, and you almost kind of get that sense that this story almost reflects her life, almost parallels her life. Like she might have had some great love long ago, which I think she might have. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on this. I think she might have had some great love in her life that it never transpired, never happened, you know. And that's kind of the case here, you know. Like I said with the plot synopsis, Anne Elliot 8 years prior, was forced to reject this marriage proposal because her family is rather snobby. And yeah, Captain Wentworth he was like, you know, he was a soldier at the time, and that was kind of seen as improper, not someone fit and up to Anne's standards, you know, terribly enough. That he would not have been able to provide for her money-wise. So yeah, she was forced to reject his proposal years and years ago. So it's like you almost kind of see that almost like perhaps Jane Austen herself. Maybe she had some suitor that she liked, but they were deemed unsuitable. You know, for the most part, I do think this movie was very well shot. It was really nice to look at. There was actually something about it that was kind of dark and gloomy, which was kind of surprising. A lot of times when I watch Jane Austen adaptations, a lot of times I'm kind of used to things that are a little bit more vibrant and colorful. But yeah, Persuasion it is especially how it is in this movie, it is kind of dark and gloomy, I guess, to go with that angsty atmosphere, you know, and kind of heartbreak that Anne Elliot is feeling. And there's quite a few scenes that take place, at a is it Lyme? The port at Lyme, I think is how that's referred to, and people are just walking along that area with the ocean just rushing and hitting at the shore and at the rocks, and yet just waves of water pounding over characters, you know. And it's like, did people get great joy and entertainment out of being hit by the ocean? Because that seems kind of dangerous and not very fun. So yeah, you have that too, which I got a kick out of, with people down there by the ocean and just the ocean just washing practically all over them. It was pretty intense and scary for me. I was like, someone is going to get washed away off into the ocean, okay? I did think the costuming in this was really gorgeous and beautiful, very traditional fare when it comes to the world of Jane Austen. Nothing wild or splashy or crazy. It is what it needs to be, and it works. I do think maybe my one nitpick, if I had to find some sort of nitpick with this movie, I don't know if it's just, like I said, I watched this on BritBox. The movie is from 2007. I don't know if BritBox was adjusting the format. I don't know if BritBox adjusted like the video format to like fill up a whole screen, and some of the shots just seemed a little strange and awkward, or if the movie downright was filmed and shot like this. I don't know. But yeah, one of my nitpicks, I just felt like there was like a lot of extreme close-ups, you know, like a lot of extreme intense close-ups on people's faces, and it's like, okay, camera, I need the camera to pull back a little bit. It's just a little too much in my face. So yeah, like I said, I don't know if the movie was intentionally shot that way with the extreme close-ups, or BritBox did something to the video format and was trying to fill it up into a screen, and you know, it kind of widened everything out, and now everyone's faces were all up in the screen. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, that was kind of my one nitpick, because everything about the movie I think was really well directed and executed, but yeah, a lot of times just the really extreme close-ups on faces was a little kind of just too much for me. So just to get into the cast really quickly, because this movie most certainly has a fantastic, ridiculous British cast. I was totally here for it. Starting with Anne Elliot, obviously played by the wonderful, gorgeous Sally Hawkins. I am very amused by the fact that I have watched 3 movies this year thus far with Sally Hawkins, and they were all based off of classic literature. So yeah, fortunately for Sally Hawkins, she has the lead role in this movie. But yeah, the other 2 movies that I happened to watch with her this year, she had a really small part in the oh, what year was that movie? 2011. Yeah, she had a really small part in the 2011 Great Expectations adaptation, and she had a really small part in the Mia Wasikowska and Michael Fassbender Jane Eyre movie. So yeah, she had really small parts in both of those movies. So it was nice to see Sally Hawkins get her time to shine as the lead in this movie. But yeah, I really adore Anne Elliot. Once again, I didn't like the book that much, so I don't know how much of an impression I took away from that book, how much I liked Anne Elliot or not, because I feel like I was really indifferent to her. But I really liked Anne Elliot as a character in this movie. I think there's something about her that's really relatable and really genuine. She's really quiet and soft-spoken, how Sally Hawkins is deciding to interpret her. Yeah, she has her own fierce intelligence and her own fierce independence to some degree, and yeah, she has moments of really great vulnerability, and I think more than anything, a big part of her character is she has a lot of regret. You know, she has a lot of regret that she never accepted Wentworth's proposal 8 years ago. She regrets that she listened to her family, but I mean, that's kind of just it. She's a dutiful daughter at the end of the day. You know, she's a dutiful daughter. She's going to do what she's told and what I guess she thinks best serves the family, even if that means her own heartbreak. But yeah, it's like throughout this entire movie, you see her kind of slowly building up that determination and trying to build up her confidence. Like, you know, I need to do what I want to do and kind of screw everybody else. But yeah, I love Sally Hawkins in this. And then Captain Frederick Wentworth, you guys, one of the big reasons I wanted to watch this particular adaptation, because I love Rupert Penry Jones, you guys. Hallelujah. Seriously, I adore Rupert Penry Jones. I think one of the big first things I ever watched him in, he was in the MI5 / Spooks TV show. Over here in America, we call it MI5, but I believe over there in the UK, you guys call it Spooks. But yeah, I loved him on that show. So yeah, him being in a period piece, a Jane Austen period piece, I was like, hell yes, I must watch this. But yeah, Captain Wentworth, you know, what is it with Jane Austen's leading men? Because I feel like a lot of times they don't really say much of anything. A lot of times they're off to like the side, you know, they're over here off to the side, like just staring off at their love interest, you know, giving them sexy eyes and just doing a lot of flirting with the eyes. That's all they kind of do. They just sit in a corner, you know. Yeah, I feel like Rupert Penry Jones, that's all Frederick Wentworth was doing this whole damn movie. He's just giving sexy eyes over at Anne Elliot, and it's kind of like, okay, do y'all want to get together or what? What's going on here? But yeah, Rupert Penry Jones, yeah, Wentworth is just really the classic Jane Austen character, you know, stoic, silent, but something deeply interesting and intense there that you gotta dig under the surface. And you guys, Anthony Head was in this movie as well, playing Sir Walter Elliot, Anne Elliot's dad. I love Anthony Head. I've loved that man ever since he played Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Come on. I just love that Anthony Head is always just randomly popping up in random things. I'm always here for it. Boy, oh boy, Anthony Head, he has played villains in the past. I mean, if you happen to watch like the Merlin TV show where he played Uther Pendragon, I mean, he was a really despicable villain in that, but it's like I still liked him in that. But yeah, this movie, oh my god, I definitely hated Anthony Head in this movie because it's like, dude, you're holding back your daughter, you're rich and you're snobby, and your daughter doesn't deserve you. Or you don't deserve your daughter, I guess. But yeah, I really liked how despicable Walter Elliott was in this movie. Anthony had played that so wonderfully. We also have Alice Krige. You guys, the cast list just keeps on going. We have Alice Krige in this movie playing Lady Russell, who's like a friend to Anne Elliot. Alice Krige is always wonderful. She's always great. She's always just classically beautiful. Put her in anything, she's going to excel. I love that relationship that Lady Russell had with Anne Elliot. A nice little female friendship there. I think that's one of the things that I think Jane Austen in general does well with in her books. You know, whenever there are female friendships, I think those friendships are always really tight and interesting, and I love them. And then we have Amanda Hale playing Mary Musgrove, who is like one of Anne's sisters. I guess an older sister. I can't remember if she's older or younger. No, she's younger. I think she's supposed to be younger. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, Amanda Hale, Mary Musgrove. I really liked Amanda Hale in this movie. I liked what Amanda Hale was doing with this character because you get the idea that Anne Elliot was supposed to marry her sister's her current husband. You know, you get that Anne was supposed to marry that guy, actually, but then she never did. And so it's like Mary kind of takes the leftovers, in a sense, you know. So you kind of get this sense that Mary has some sort of resentment. So that's kind of what the vibe I kind of get throughout this movie with Mary. Mary, there's some sort of resentment kind of lurking and buried deep in there that I would have loved to have seen explored much deeper. Because Mary, it seems like she's always trying to compete with Anne. You know, it seems like there's always some sort of competition. She's always making up some sort of competition. And of course, Anne doesn't really see any sort of competition with that, obviously. But Mary's always trying to make a competition. And yeah, like whenever someone is suggesting, oh, Anne can stay here and do this, Mary always gets quickly insulted, you know, and she just gets all fragile all of a sudden. Like, of course, everybody wants Anne to do this and that, and no one wants me to do something, you know. So I really liked what Amanda Hale in particular was doing with Mary. Again, there's some interesting stuff there that I would have loved to have seen fleshed out and explored. It's like she's a type of character like a historical fiction writer needs to like just write a whole book on her and explore that. And you guys, let's get into some of the other men of this cast. My particular three favorites, because I was kind of blown away that these three actors were all in this particular movie, because when the cast list was kind of going, and I was like, oh my god, this just keeps getting better and better and better. Again, I am a weirdo when it comes to British TV shows, you guys. But yeah, first up, we have Tobias Menzies. You guys, oh my freaking god, Tobias Menzies is in this movie, playing William Elliot, and he's like a cousin to Anne Elliot. And if you kind of know traditionally the types of characters that Tobias Menzies tends to play, you'll kind of get a good idea of the type of character he is in this. But yeah, I love Tobias Menzies in this. He looks so good in the Jane Austen get up, obviously, or the Regency get up. And yet William Elliot, he is certainly a character. I want to compare him to some other Jane Austen type characters, but I feel like that would be a spoiler if you don't know what his character is like. But yeah, Tobias Menzies, definitely a fantastic job with that, and I definitely liked his chemistry with Sally Hawkins before certain things get revealed. And then continuing with some great men in this cast, we have Sam Hazeldine. You guys, hell yes, I had just really been getting into Sam Hazeldine in recent years. He's just such a really fascinating actor. He plays Charles Musgrove, husband to Mary Musgrove, the guy who was maybe going to marry Anne Elliot at some point, but she kind of refused him too. I really liked what Sam Hazeldine was doing with the character of Charles Musgrove in this movie as well. He's kind of a comedic relief, because all these characters, like I said earlier, this movie has a cast of just some really angsty people, and and Charles Musgrove is kind of your comedic relief in some ways. He's kind of really hyper. I feel like he kind of has this hyperactiveness to him. And he's always going on about like guns and he wants to go out and shoot things. And I don't know how he handles Mary, you guys, his wife Mary. I don't know how he kind of puts up with her because she's pretty crazy. But I really liked what Sam Hazeldine was doing with Charles in this movie. It was just kind of really light and fun. And then the third other male in this movie, you guys, Joseph Mall. My God, yay! Playing Harry Harville. Joseph Mall does not have a really big role in this movie, but he still has a substantial amount to do. He's like a friend of Captain Wentworth's. I guess they worked with each other in the past and whatnot. Military colleagues and whatnot. Yeah, he has certain little roles and functions he serves in the movie that kind of gets things kind of rolling. But yeah, I love Joseph Mall in this as well. And yeah, funny enough, you guys, I'm just amused, seriously, having Tobias Menzies, Sam Hazeldine, Joseph Mall. This was too much for me, okay? Just too much. Plus, add on the fact, my nerdy self, you guys, my nerdy self, loving, because I love Rings of Power, on Amazon, the Lord of the Rings prequel show. And yeah, Sam Hazeldine and Joseph Mall both play the exact same character in that show. So, you guys, I think that is pretty much it that I wanted to hash out with this movie. I am really glad I have finally watched this particular adaptation of Persuasion, because like I said, ever since it came out way back in 2007, I've always had a desire to watch it. I just never had the means or opportunity to, but yeah, now it's like if I want to buy BritBox for a month, I can. So yeah, go to BritBox if you have the means to do so, if you've ever wanted to watch this adaptation of Persuasion, because like I said, I know that 2022 adaptation, everyone did not like that, so if you didn't like that, there's a good chance you will probably prefer this adaptation for better. So you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on Persuasion. In the comments below, have you guys seen this movie? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Just let me know. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.